Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and in this video we're going to be talking about Wurrzag. You see, the greenskins have had a little bit of a change here and there. We've discussed this already when the FLC embargo dropped, but I want to talk about Wurrzag particularly because you guys know I love Savage Orcs. So much so that I painted 200 of them in 7 days, and I'm still recovering from that mentally. But yes, I do like Savage Orcs, and there's a lot to talk about because Wurrzag has had some nice changes in its campaign thanks to Omens of Destruction. We'll start off with the faction effects and lord effects. You can see that the starting army is pretty beefy there, right? But faction effects can construct Savage Orc recruitment buildings in any settlement. So, usual thing, buildings dedicated just for your Savage Orcs. Campaign movement range plus 10% for all armies. You're going to be a bit more mobile, especially since you're in a new star position. Upkeep, this one's a big change. Minus 15% for Savage Orc units for all armies. It used to be 50% for just Wurrzag. And finally, Winds of Magic power reserve capacity plus 15 for all armies. As there's now a new generic Savage Orc Shaman Lord, you're going to be running a lot of magical armies. The Lord effects have had a few change here too, so recruitment cost minus 50% for Savage Orc units and Lord's Army, charge bonus plus 20 for Savage Orc units and Lord's Army, physical resistance 15% for Savage Orc units for Lord's Army, so that's an extra bonus to their normal. It's a nerf currently, but not actually because there's skills that can boost that up even further. And, you know, the usual Wurzag's War replaces the normal War. So, you can already see there's a lot of changes there. It's definitely going to change up his campaign, but there's more to come. So let's just jump into the campaign. So Wurrzag has been moved to the Southlands. You're in the jungles there, and you've got access to a tier 2 settlement right from the very beginning, including your Savage Orc building. You will have a pretty decent landmark there for shamans and stuff. The benefit is it does increase the recruitment rank, but yeah, you're surrounded by enemies. To your north, you've got Manfred and Cetra. To your east, you've got, well, Krokgar mostly. To your south, you do have Teclis and our good buddy Kairos. And to your west, you start off at war with Tic-Tac-Toe, and then you've also got Volkmar, who will become a problem. You do have a pretty beefy army to start off with, so yeah, you just have to move in. There's 2 enemies to fight, so first army out of the way, you can easily auto-resolve that. Second one will allow you to confederate, and that gives you the full province, so you'll have 3 settlements by the end of turn 1. It's not too bad. You'll have to start dealing with Tic-Tac-Toe from the very beginning, so I would suggest not wasting too much time, but you can recruit and just focus on with a proper Savage Orc playthrough if you so wish, because it is kind of viable now. It's definitely going to be a bit of a tougher campaign if you're not used to fighting so many different enemies, but it's going to give you the variety that a lot of people have been wanting, as you're not stuck in the Badlands now dealing with orcs, and more orcs. Now, we do have some new skills for Wurrzag, where they're going to focus on giving you physical resistance. There's 3 different ones. So one is for Orc Infantry, the other one is for your Boar Boys, and the other one, the last one, is for your monsters. These are all unlocked at rank 10, and it's actually quite important to note, with Wurrzag, you can get all 3 of them. So you can have a pretty varied army focusing on different Savage Orcs, getting extra physical resistance. With Wurrzag, you'll be getting 50 physical resistance, more or less, on your Savage Orc boys. You could possibly get more, but yeah, you're going to have some really resistant Savage Orcs running around everywhere. This is also the case with your brand new Lord option. If you end up buying this DLC, you'll have access to Savage Orc Shamans, giving you the big war as a Lord option. Not only that, but they are proper Savage Orcs. So you'll be able to get these skills, which will allow you to boost up with a bunch of different stuff. They've got a small unique skill line too. It'll give you some bonuses more towards Savage Orcs. Again, dedicated, very similar to what happened in Thrones of Decay with the Slayer Lord option, which is pretty damn good. Obviously, you want as much of that as possible with reduction to spells and all that different type of stuff. But they'll also have the same unique skills that Wurrzag had, but you can only pick one. So you could have a Savage Orc Shaman focused around monsters, and then just a pure monster army, or just focusing on other stuff. You've also got access to the Boar and the Wyvern mount with these guys, so it's pretty cool. They look great too. It's a nice kind of like new rendition, taking of the original classic, if you remember the old model back in the day. And Wurzag's unique skill line was retooled a little bit. Nothing too massive, it's just a little bit of here and there, like for example, cooldown to all characters' spells for the big war and the little war, which is very, very nice. The other stuff has been moved around. in general, they've given him a nice little facelift, which I think is going to be quite good, considering that he's a very popular character, and you still have the usual stuff with the Foot of Mork, don't worry, like that's not leaving anywhere. If anything, you're actually going to be able to cast it faster, which terrifies me because the AI can cast it faster too, but that'll be a problem for another day, I guess. Remember that Savage Orcs, just like every other unit, will make use of the new system for Scrap, which is pretty decent. It can also make them a lot killier too, so Scrap is going to be viable once again. But through my own campaigns, mostly me just testing out stuff, I found that you can ignore it. The Savage Orcs are just powerful enough to be able to just blank that out. Savage Orcs will be generally quite cheap here. You can see 119, and this is something that is going to be quite viable for you now, especially if you want to have a themed campaign. Keep in mind that, yeah, you're still going to deal with supply lines for some reason. However, there is a decent amount of chances that you're going to be getting some recruitment reduction for the Savage Orc units. These are just like little auxiliaries, and around the area, we're going to talk about this a little bit more later, there are a decent amount of resource buildings that will give you a flat reduction for upkeep for all armies, which is really, really good because you can get them to stack really efficiently. Multiple armies of Savage Orcs do feel very viable now. If you might remember on the live build currently before this gets launched, things are just a bit too expensive if you're trying to theme up, and really theming is so important when you have a specialized lord. And let's stop for a minute to admire that Scarbrand actually recruits demons now. Yeah, look, turn 19. It's not too bad, isn't it? I know, there's more important things, but it's nice to see. So here we are at turn 26, and I was being really slow. I could probably take a lot more land, but I was distracted because I was watching 28 Days Later again. But yeah, you actually take a decent amount of territories. If you can get all the good resources, keep in mind that they're spread out, and not every resource icon will actually get you resources or a special building. You will actually end up spreading out quite quickly. I mean, look at this. Turn 26, we've destroyed Volkmar, we've pushed all the way up to getting rid of Ark the Black, which isn't too bad. We've expanded all the way down south too, because I'm actually pushing to go and get rid of Kairos at the same time. There's a third army up and running. It's showing that, one, the economy is pretty decent if you're focusing on just Savage Orcs now, because all you have to do is literally the Savage Orc building, and then everything else can be economy buildings, barring anything for like monsters and stuff. But it feels really good to see this going so well. I'm auto-resolving this because they were just easy battles anyway. But I can say after a fair amount of hours playing with my own personal Wurrzag campaign before I started filming for this, Wurrzag feels a lot better now. Sure, he's lacking on like a generic hero and the melee lord for the Savage Orcs. You never know for the future, but the main thing is you can actually do a proper Savage Orc campaign with a nice change of variety. The new star position really brings new life to him. And just the general small updates, it's amazing what a small update could do. Hopefully in the future we could see some full unique mechanics for each of the Greenskin Lords. But until then, you can definitely have fun with Wurrzag now. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. There's a bunch of videos coming out this week, as you can imagine. I'll also be live streaming on twitch.tv/thegreatbookofgrudges. So pop by, say hello, and if not, I'll see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.